Old habits.
Well, and I just got up as if it was my job.
But, you know, I said to me. I asked for that.
They want to get rid of it. We need it.
Yeah.
But that's the way they do it.
I told you why we had to do it.
Yes, yes, you told me that. You told me.
So, but she's gonna probably buy it, you know, keep there, you got, emails, so they're giving people flash drive to put those.
Oh, very good.
I don't know if you, I should have.
We'll get loud. It's 5:30 and my meeting is scheduled to start, my reminder said. The Norfolk Public School District's Board of Education meeting is called to order. Roll call.
Tammy Day. Here. Dr. Patty Googles. Present. Bruce Mitchell.
Here.
Arnie Robinson.
Here.
Bob Lee.
Present.
Sandy Wolf.
Present.
All members are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. This is a legal meeting of the Board of Education as advertised by the means specified in board policy. A complete copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the boardroom for your review. A copy of the agenda is available at the desk of the recording secretary. Please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to begin the night on a fun note. We're going to do the board member service recognition. I practiced so I wouldn't get all emotional. And here I go. Okay, Nora, cool. We can do this. Well, half of our board is leaving us, and it is their last meeting. So we wanted to do something special. So without making them stand up here and feel awkward, I'll let them sit, and then I'll come shake their hand or fist bump or whatever you do, and you guys can join in. So we're going to start with Dr. Patty Googles. Patty has been a valued school board member for 6 years. She came with so much knowledge, education, information, her doctorate of psychology and education, kind of. Good. You know, her memory is so good. And she came in with like zero training because she knew those IEPs and RTAs and SIPs, and the rest of us are like, what? Just such a valued member. We are really going to miss everything that you contribute. Thank heaven we got policy all the way through once with you. And Patty, you have been an exceptional board member. And Patty is going on to be our state school board member, which is so awesome to have that ally across the state and her representation, because we know how much she values our educators as well as our students. So in appreciation of Patty Googles for serving 6 years NPS School Board.
Does Patty have a speech for her? No. I will just, let me say thank you, Patty. Patty and I have served the same amount of time, so I'm not sure I will know what to do without Patty here, because we started about the same time. But as Sandy mentioned, I'm so excited to have Patty move into a new role that has an impact statewide, because she is the perfect person for that job and will do it and do it so well. So thank you, Patty, for being willing to try new things. Sad for us, but excited for the state of Nebraska, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tammy. Speaking of emotional, it truly has been an honor to serve Norfolk as a school board member. and it's been an honor to serve and work with all of you. I was reflecting about the last 6 years, and it was like, 6 years? You know, it seems like it's just gone so fast. And in that reflection, I was reminded of how many important decisions we have made as a group of one. And I say that because we've been a very collaborative board and administration. It's been so much fun to work together. I know that even though half of us are leaving, there are still great things to come for Norfolk Public Schools. And I know that each of us, in our own way, will continue contributing to Norfolk Public Schools and to education in general. So thank you all for the great experience.
I'm gonna reserve comment till all three of them.
Okay.
That way I don't get sappy.
See, I have to raise my hand 5 times every time.
Okay, and so even though we said it was scary losing half of us, when Marnie and Bob and myself came on, we were half that came on at that time too, so we know what it's like to turn over a board. And I served with both of you the full 8 years. We came on together. Arnie bleeds maroon. He is a Panther through and through. He was a graduate. I was going to look up the year, but I did have a year. But I didn't want to offend him and go the wrong year. Just years ago, just a few years ago, Arnie graduated from Norfolk Public Schools. He gives us the perspective from the community, very involved in the community and always has ears out there listening, and he's brought so much. I'd love to hear what he has to say because it's so well thought out and well said. So Arnie, we really thank you for your 8 years and all that you've done for Norfolk Public Schools.
Are you gonna go first, Arnie, or me?
You
See, if I have to break mine up, or I won't make it through, no. Thank you, Arnie. I feel like I learned a lot about what it meant to be a board member from watching you and listening to you. Always have the perfect summary of the discussion or the question that needed to be asked, and I've tried to listen and learn this whole time so that I could be like Arnie. So thank you for being such a great mentor for me as to what it meant to serve in an elected office. And I will miss having you here, so thank you.
I would just say thanks to everyone associated with Norfolk Public Schools, our administrative team. You're not going to find a better administrative team. You guys make being a board member easy. We're prepared, we're ready, the plans are well thought out, our discussion is respected and appreciated. I think the collaborative was a great word for it, Patty. The teaching staff, the students, the resiliency they've shown this last year is just a great example of understanding the expectations and the willingness to jump right in and go above and beyond. We're going to talk later this afternoon or this evening about some curriculum stuff. And Beth talked today at our finance meeting about science teachers pushing through a pilot program during pandemic and not saying, oh, we're too busy, oh, we can't handle this, but saying, we're ready, let's look at this, let's go. And I'm just so impressed. Every time I hear a story coming from one of our buildings about what's going on, I'm just more and more impressed. And to you guys as a board, this has been an outstanding experience. Great people to get to know, to work with. From the time we started with Brad and Julie on the board, and the board we have now has just been absolutely outstanding. So I'd just like to really take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for the relationships we've built and hopefully the good work we've accomplished over the last 8 years.
Thank you, Arnie. And last but definitely not least is Mr. Bob Waite. Bob has served here 8 years, but prior to that he served 18 years as the business manager of schools of Norfolk Public, and then he has a whole bunch of other stuff waiting for us. And it'll be sad to lose you, Bob, because now I'm the oldest, but that's all right. But the wisdom, I mean, Bob had so much history. He could tell us things that none of us knew, and stories he had, and just such experience and great things that really helped us. And I know he was very insightful for Bill along the way. And Bob, we are really going to miss you. And I know these last 4 years we really twisted your arm, but we couldn't have done it without you. And it's been a wonderful 8 years. So thank you, Bob.
Well, in keeping with the pattern, I'll just go next. I have to say thank you, Bob, for many things, but in particular, when I first started on the board, everyone said, hey, you should be on negotiations. I was like, okay. Little did I know that my people pleaser heart was like, what? So I thank Bob for answering my questions, helping me see it's going to be okay, that we were in it for the right reasons, and I really learned a lot about relationship building and protecting the needs of the district and looking out for students and staff. So that will never leave my memory. And I also feel like Bob is just so good at the fiscal side of things, I think from the 18 years, of course. But I really learned about what kinds of questions to ask and really to be thoughtful about having some fiscal oversight and restraint and prioritizing what do you truly need, not just what do you want. So thank you, Bob. Again, I've learned so much from all of you. That's been a wonderful experience, and best wishes to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Tammy. I had a great big long speech I had prepared, but I forgot. Deliberately. There are 4 things I'd like to say. First one is, I thank God for His blessings and His grace for allowing me to go on this trip for the last 8 years. Thank God for my wife. She went on this trip with me. As you all know, it does get your life does get a little bit interrupted from all of this stuff. I thank the community for placing the trust in me that I would do the best thing for those kids. Because that's really what it is all about, is treating those kids and doing the very best for them. And I'd like to thank all of you, the current board, and the past boards of education, and all the professional staff for all the things that you've done over the years, and especially the last 8 years. It's good to get the school district and the Board of Education back into the good graces of the community. I'm not envying you the next year or two, because it seems like daily or weekly the rules regarding this COVID thing have changed and will continue to change. Lord knows where he's going to end up. I'm glad beyond belief that I don't have to face that. Good luck to all of you. It's been a wonderful trip. After I was trying to figure it out, it was 60-some years in education, from the time I started first grade till the time I'm getting off here. That's a long time. I think it's time for others to step up and do the job. I have no children here in the district anymore. You people have a better interest in that than I do. So good luck in the future. And if you have any questions, call Bill.
Well, fortunately, Bob, there is an agenda item. It's on there every month. You're more than welcome to come back during the public comments in the communication section and share your wisdom and knowledge with us. Well, all three of you are. You're welcome at any time. But no, it's been an honor to serve with all three of you. I'm the longest standing member. I don't remember how many years, so I'm not, I see all these board members leaving. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with me. But no, in all honesty, I learned from some of the best, Julie File and Brad and previous members, and I don't know how we've done it, because we've always had 6 distinct personalities. But we've always been able to come together. We each have a different set of expertise, knowledge, way of communicating. And like Patty said, it's been collaborative. We've been able to come together and do the best for the district, the staff, the students, and the taxpayers. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, is some of the amazing things we've been able to do without spending a lot of tax money, and yet not shorting our kids any opportunity. And that starts at the top and trickles down. Like Arnie said, we sit here and vote on things because we're presented information, positive and negative, and it's well planned out, thought out, and we have a pretty easy job. But the three of you will be missed. Hopefully you will keep in contact, and good luck with the next venture. Let me know if the fish are biting somewhere. I'd be happy to join you. But thank you for your service. Thank you.
I also would like to thank all three of you for your service and your dedication to Norfolk Public Schools. Our schools are better because of the time that you have spent on the board, and that is a mark of a quality board member. Having said that, I know that your service and dedication to Norfolk Public Schools is not over, because you love our students and our schools, and you will be right there behind us, watching every move. So, thank you for that. Thank you very much for serving our schools.
I would like to, echo what everybody has said. And I felt like I have known all the board members very well, but especially those who are moving on, even before you're on the board. I had a relationship with many of you. Those you don't know, Patty Googles, Dr. Googles was a longtime neighbor of mine, and got to see my family grow up and right across the street. And so I was excited when she came to the board, because I knew the skill set that was coming. And I felt like I knew Arnie even before he came back to Norfolk, just through some activities and so forth, and those kinds of things. And then with Bob was one of the first central office administrators I had contact with when I was hired 20 years ago. And I don't know if he remembers, but my oldest, who's now grown and in Omaha, and he had to hold her on his lap while I was signing paperwork for benefits, and he was happy to do it, actually in the office that I'm in today. So, all of you have offered great insight and help to the board, and business officials across the state talk about things, and your collaborative efforts are not always common in other districts. And I think Bruce pointed out well, very distinct voices, that you've allowed not one voice to be the loudest. And that's the strength that I think other people need to model, because that's why we've had the decisions that have been made, because they're collaborative, thought out, and a lot of different angles have been looked at. So I appreciate that. And so wish you the best, and I know that that support is always there, just different mechanisms now. So thank you.
Well, I'll speak to Bob and Arnie together, because when I was thinking about what to say, it was pretty much the same thing for both, though I think I have very distinct relationships with each of you. But it really has been a pleasure to serve with you on the board. And I'm grateful to call you colleagues and friends. And I know your dedication is going to have a lasting impact. You've done so much for the students, the teachers, the staff, and the Norfolk community. So thank you for that.
Well, Patty, I never reciprocate. I appreciate your strength of character, your willingness to go the extra mile to see things through, that you have the vision to see things in a broad perspective, and yet notice all those little details, especially those board policies. I want you to carry those same qualities on to the State Board of Education. I want you to question them and make sure that what they're doing there is right for the kids and for the state. And I know you'll do that.
I'll give it my best.
And I think I can address the two of you together, because one of the greatest skills you both have brought to this board is probably one of the reasons we've been able to have 6 distinct personalities and viewpoints come together as one school board voice. And that's bringing your area of expertise and your area of deep knowledge and bringing that as a voice to the table, but being open to looking at the big picture and investing in your own growth as a board member and investing in our growth as a board as a whole, and finding ways to keep the interests of the district at the forefront and to have those conversations and to be willing to have the difficult conversations as a board to come up with the true answer. And each of you coming with a strong education background and a strong understanding of where we are have been great leaders to the board, great mentors to all of us, and all of us have had a great opportunity to learn from each other. But serving with this group has been a true pleasure, and I just say thank you.
I remember when we first came on, the 3 of us. I shouldn't digress. But there was a little concern that maybe we would have a split board. Would that be right, Bruce?
A little bit.
Just a little bit of that, and we wouldn't get along well. But I think that the 3 of us came on with the interest of improving the school district and doing what was right for kids and for the staff. We weren't there with agendas to do anything. We just wanted to do a good job. And I think, as Bruce said, the number of things that we've accomplished in the last 8 years has just really been phenomenal. Curriculum-wise, facility-wise, building up the community's trust in the school district. I think it's been a really good trip, and I have not regretted 1 minute of it. But, as I said, it's time for others to take on that role and bring a new perspective to this.
That went really well. I like that. Doesn't that make you feel good? It's a good way to start. It was a great way to start it, yeah. We're really going to be missed. We are to public comment and communication, so hey, this is the time during the meeting when the public may request to address the board. If you wish to comment, we ask that you identify yourself and the topic that you wish to address. Each individual's comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note that the board cannot discuss or act upon matters that are not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members will not respond to your comments or questions. If you wish to request that an item be placed on a future board agenda, you may contact the superintendent or her assistant during normal business hours. Also note that concerns related to school personnel need to be addressed to the superintendent using the approved district protocol. Would anybody like to speak? Okay. We are to number 6, information and discussion items, finance and facilities report. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. The total amount of claims to be approved in the consent agenda for the month of December by specific fund are listed below. This also includes the total claims from the month of November in the activities fund. All these claims were reviewed earlier today by our Finance Facility Committee. As we finish the calendar year, payroll is working on end of the year documents for employees so they can get in their individual taxes after the first year. Something everybody looks forward to, but that's where we're at. I'll entertain any questions about this report.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Teaching and learning report, Beth Nelson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a significant report this evening, highlighting 3 things. The first one, twig science. Later in the agenda, you will see a request for purchase of the twig K2 science program. After completing 3 years of research and 2 pilots, we found an appropriate program to meet the unique needs of K2 students. Last year, we purchased Elevate Science for 3rd through 8th grade. That program did not prove to be conducive for younger grades of K2. Twig offers learning units that align with the same topics found in the Wonders English Language Arts program, which allows for cross-curricular instruction. The pilot was 6 to 8 weeks long and included feedback from teachers on weekly surveys of the program. Of the 10 teachers that piloted the program, all 10 are in favor of the program adoption and positive about the program contents. Teachers are impressed with the hands-on learning labs that support the concepts. In a non-pandemic year, we would have held a presentation on the program during study session. Unfortunately, this is not an opportunity allowed to us at this time. Pending board approval, training will be planned for this spring in a COVID-appropriate situation or setting. The other topic is Big Red Keno. We haven't talked about that in a while. We were granted $6,714. Due to pandemic, our typical project problem-solve day will not occur. Instead, teachers arranged for STEM products that can be used in the classroom. I will highlight a few examples. 3rd grade classrooms will be receiving K-Nex kits, which has parts for students to build and create simple machines, where they can learn about gear ratios, gear systems, mechanical advantage, energy transfer, pulley systems, levers, wedges, and more. The middle school will receive skeletal models of human body systems, coding robots, a low-powered electrical current unit, and supplies for 3D printing. The junior high will receive supplies and additional STEM lessons to expand the creation station. The senior high will be receiving some technical equipment to perform experiments and lessons on homeostasis, cellular respiration, and photosynthesis. This grant truly supports STEM activities and allows us to acquire some expensive equipment that otherwise would not be available. Once these grant items are available, we intend to post and share on social media. The big topic to discuss and hear about tonight is remote learning. A comprehensive presentation was shared at the October Board of Education meeting, outlining the steps took to determine the type of remote learning we were going to offer and guiding principles for establishing a remote learning program. We have since pivoted the decision on the K-5 online curriculum program. We would have liked to have offered Edgenuity as at all grade levels. However, the K-5 package minimum order far exceeded the number of NPS students being served and required us to use Edgenuity teaching staff, making it unaffordable. Pearson K-12 online curriculum, K-12 online public schools program, Keystone Academy, and Edmonton Calvert were other programs considered, studied, and researched as options for K-5 remote learning curriculum. We faced multiple challenges in our search for K-5 online curriculum programs. It's uncertain if it is pandemic related or the high demand for online products at this time, but it was difficult to get responses from companies.
The teaching and learning team was quite persistent in reaching out via email, phone calls, and even through other schools that were using the programs. Once a connection was finally made, it took several days to line up demonstrations on the product. After extensive research, we decided to contract with Edmonton Calvert Learning for K-5. Calvert is a comprehensive online curriculum program that is project-based with supporting video lessons, language translation, read-aloud capabilities, and designed to occur in an asynchronous structure. It has automated grading responses on most assignments and generates next steps to correcting learning. However, the program does not completely remove the need for adult support from parents and teachers. The curriculum content in Calvert is curated from textbook publishers that are credible and popularly used by schools. These include McGraw-Hill, Houghton Mifflin, Pearson, and Discovery Education, to name a few. Calvert Learning is contracted statewide in Oklahoma for their online learning program during the pandemic. Designing a remote learning program is much like designing a school within a school. Student, parent, teacher, and administrative processes must be thought through, discussed, created, and communicated, all while still meeting school policy. Coordination between the teaching and learning department, student services, special programs, technology, school information systems, and the online curriculum program company is in constant motion. In many situations, in order for one part to move forward, the other part must be in place first. For example, before the Edmonton Calvert was willing to schedule a training, all pieces of student information were required to be entered into the program, which required the school information system department to take action. Accuracy of student enrollments is crucial for many educational entities as it affects school data and various state reports. Systems within systems, like Infinite Campus, must be accurate for recording, communicating, tracking, and aligning pieces of information to the right places like attendance and grading, and then into the end of the year state reports. Just like regular school, remote learning school processes must be in place. Remote learning presents unique situations because students are not in the same room at the same time as their teacher. We have been forced to think outside of the traditional school box to problem solve. Such things as attendance, participation, teacher-student interactions, timelines, deadlines, feedback, grading, and student support are all still a part of education, even if it is remote. We are currently arranging all of those pieces. Remote learning teachers have been working with the teaching and learning team for several days. They are working to become familiar with the curriculum programs, lessons, assignments, software operations, as well as learning who their students are and what, if any, special needs are present. Together, we are establishing the processes for taking attendance, tracking, learning, and knowing where to go when problems arise. The teaching and learning department is assisting them in designing orientations for parents and students. The orientations will include training and guidance for students and parents on all of the remote learning school systems of operation. This includes learning the software components, hardware operations, technology troubleshooting, understanding attendance rules, communicating and tracking deadlines, grading and scheduling synchronous meeting times. Infinite Campus navigation for parents will be slightly different and requires communication and understanding. The orientation will also provide guidance to parents about the importance of an intentional learning environment and consistency in daily schedules. Both remote learning companies have videos available to families for learning about the online curriculum software, but Norfolk Public Schools orientation and training will still occur, and it will be made available to the families during January 5th through the 7th at various time frames during the school day. Resources will be made available to them as well on the NPS website. Educational processes are important, and so is curriculum. Designing remote learning units for all grade levels in 4 core and various elective courses comes as no easy task, especially in mid-year. Each subject and grade level must be reviewed so assigned instruction second semester does not overlap already learned concepts or leave gaps in any curriculum. The teaching and learning team has spent intense hours aligning remote learning courses to NPS priority standards by reviewing curriculum documents and pacing guides, as well as collaborating with teachers on specifics that were covered or not covered so far this school year. Because the senior high schedules are unique and graduation credits are a priority, an additional layer of work was required by the senior high guidance office. They have been meeting with students and updating schedules in Infinite Campus so students are ready to be enrolled in the Edgenuity program. Spring testing is another unique element to remote learning. We're currently gathering information from the state on what options are allowed and how we will respond as a district to meet those requirements. Mary Luer will also speak to this in her report as well. The technology devices and hotspots to support remote learning students is still another layer to the remote learning school. Mr. Wilson will also speak to this in his report. Collectively, we are working very diligently to meet deadlines to provide remote learning to students in the second semester. Planning and organizing are key to a strong start, but solid systems are necessary for successful implementation to sustain the full semester. Although an extraordinary amount of work has been put into this process, we recognize that there will be some glitches and the transition will likely not be seamless. We also want to reiterate that face-to-face, in-person learning is the best learning option for students. We are working very hard to make remote learning a successful option for students, but technology simply cannot replace the daily interaction that occurs in a classroom between students and teachers. We hope that parents are willing to recognize and will be patient throughout this transition process. Can I answer any questions for you?
Are there any schools within the state that are using the new program?
Calvert is used, Calvert's a Calvert is a piece of Edmonton. Edmonton's a large company that offers several programs within it. Yes, exactly which schools are using which programs, I would have to recheck for you, but like Calvert isn't the only offering of Edmonton. And so, for example, they have a My Next Path that Bellevue uses to connect their testing scores to their instruction. It's a huge company with a lot of resources. And like I mentioned in the report as well, where they use pieces and parts of all of those other publishing companies, it's been a massive collaboration within them to put this together. Other questions?
How many teachers do we have that are going to be facilitating this?
We currently have 5 teachers, and we have them broken into grade spans.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Student programs report, Mary Luer.
Thank you, Madam President. For ELL students who may have chosen to move to remote learning second semester, they will still need to take the ELPA in person. So it's not something that's offered remotely, and the state's been asking if that would be a possibility. At this point, it is no. So the window for the ELPA test is February 8th through March 19th. So our students will be asked to come back on campus to take that test, just as our students will be that have chosen remote. Special education. Recently involved in another special education staff shortage continues to be a priority in the state. In a recent meeting, our region revisited our plan to attract, prepare, and retain special education positions. I'm participating in virtual job fairs at the colleges that continue to offer the opportunity. Not all of them are offering it this year, so we continue to recruit virtually. And then our nurses will wrap up the annual Our nurses will wrap up their annual health screenings this month. Students in grades pre-K, 4, 7, and 10th grade are screened annually. This is a mandated regulation that allows for little flexibility even with the restrictions of COVID and the directive health measures. We have some UNMC students through Northeast Community College that have assisted us as usual. Are there any questions?
How many ELL students have contracts for remote learning?
Well, I'll give you a percent based on our district and then the number. So it reflects our percent for the district. So we have about 4% of our students are ELL students. And about 4% of our students are moving to remote that are ELL students.
So 4% of the 4%.
Well, 4% of the 200 students that are moving to remote. So it's a true reflection of the population. What?
Which would be 8 by the math.
Yeah.
The percentages match the percentage per student body as a whole.
Yes, we were at 10, but I'm not sure all of them have stayed with that choice.
Do you have any special ed students participating in the program?
Yes, I do. Again, the reflection's about the same as the overall district average, slightly less though, 10% of the students. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary. Next, we have Student Services Report. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. Through Student Services and Technology, we received 203 contracts for remote learning for second semester. We're no longer accepting contracts as we have filled our staffing and program needs based on the contracts we received by the deadline. We are currently getting Chromebooks and hotspots ready to check out to those families that have requested them. Those devices will be checked out to students before they leave for the holiday break. Thankfully, we had secured grant funding earlier in the year to support families with internet access needs to meet that. So we've been there. On the safety side, results from our external safety audit by Lang Safety Consultings are in, and I have met with individual building principals to discuss their specific building. A couple of highlights from the district audit include recommendations to practice reverse evacuation drills and relocation drills when it's COVID appropriate. Have staff practice using our phone systems to activate emergency drills, not just our administrators, but all staff members. Provide substitute teachers with emergency training and subfolders that contain all of our emergency procedure information. Entry control concerns were looked at Lincoln, Grant, and middle school. That's been something that's been on our list for the last couple of years, and things that the board members have looked at being able to address. Mr. Lang did make a comment about we have an excellent phone and speaker system. The upgrades that we've done in the past were great. He did recommend that I get incident command training through FEMA, so we're working on that here in December. Overall, Mr. Lang was very impressed with the condition of our district in regards to the safety measures and improvements that we have implemented. I'll answer any questions.
So Eric, of those 203 students that are wanting to go remote, is it spread out fairly evenly among class grades?
I was afraid you were going to ask me this question. I do have it broke down by grades. I would say we're pretty even. Maybe not kindergarten, there's not as many kids as we would have like at 7th, 8th, 9th grade, but it's fairly even across, yes. I think three teachers for basically junior high, middle school, high school, and then 2 for the elementary.
So, yeah, I was just gonna help you out with that. Like, we have 2 teachers. One will assist K2, another will assist K5, and then we have one assigned to 6th and 7th, 8th and 9th, and then 10th through 12th. And I would say there's a little bit of a spike probably in 6th grade for whatever reason. But for the littles, that's a fewer students per teacher, but more interaction is required, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Eric. Human Resources and Accreditation, Angie Bowman.
Thank you, Madam President.
All of our certified positions have been filled for the second semester, except for one special education position at Bel Air Elementary. I am beginning to prepare for job fairs and interview days to begin recruiting for the 2021-2022 school year. So far, all scheduled events are virtual. A substitute update. The district has continued to have a high need for substitute teachers and paras. Just a few updates since the last board meeting. 10 additional substitute teachers have been hired and 20 additional substitute paras have been hired. The majority of the substitute paras are college students that have an unusually long winter break due to the pandemic. 3 additional full-time substitute teachers have been hired. One is starting this week and the other 2 will begin second semester. In addition, January 4th was originally scheduled a professional development day, but will be utilized as a teacher work day instead. And this will allow our staff to collaborate and finalize plans for the second semester. Any questions?
Thank you, Angie. Superintendent's report, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have chosen to focus my entire report on the board appointment process and timeline. As of December 31st, Dr. Patty Gooble's resignation will be official. We will advertise with the Norfolk Daily News and place that on our website as soon as Mary Hoyne returns from Christmas break, January 4th. We will run it in the Daily News twice. I believe the first will be January 6th and the second January 13th. Applications will be due to my office at noon on January 25th. If we have more than 4 applicants, then veteran board members, which would be Sandy, Tammy, and Bruce, would select finalists from that group. If we have 4 or less, we'll just take them all. Then February 8th, the finalists will be interviewed during the open board meeting, and a replacement will be selected at that time. Each sitting board member will have the opportunity to ask each candidate one question. Their one question needs to be the same for every candidate. And so I have provided a list of sample questions from the Nebraska Association of School Boards. If you would let me know what your question is, then I will get those compiled and make sure that we don't have any duplicates. Then February 25th, which would be the second meeting in February, or if we don't have a second meeting, March 8th, the new board member will be seated, and they will remain in office until the next general election. So serving out Patty's entire 4-year term. Right? 2 years. 2 years, sorry. Any questions about the process?
Each board member just gets one question? Seems a...
Well, the application itself has a few questions on it, and board members will get a copy of that before the interview. And then, yes, that would give 5 questions. Typically, we don't do more than that. If we feel a need to, we could, if we don't feel everything is covered.
You might be yours to the public that night.
Would it be possible to have a copy of this emailed to us?
Yes.
So we could look through it? Thank you.
And then you can pick your question so that none of us have the same question.
And we could make up our own question?
You get.
Okay.
Really hard question.
You
Okay.
can't have like 20 parts.
Perfect.
It's an essay question.
That's right. Great, you got a piece of paper. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. We are now to committee report, 7.1, Facilities and Finance Committee. Mr. Robinson.
All right, we met at noon today, went through the claims as we always do. We actually had a couple presentations. Beth came in and talked to us about the twig science program I alluded to earlier. we'll have an action item on that later tonight. And Eric came in and we're continuing to invest in Chromebooks and technology. I think we've been proven right that investing in our technology has been extremely important, and I can't imagine what we'd have done last spring if we hadn't already done so. So, again, they're looking to figure out the best way to bring in devices at a value price that will last through students' careers, and it's going to be very good. I think we touch that later tonight. Just a few other items we discussed, the updates on our facilities projects, getting a schedule together for how Grant and Lincoln are going to go for the bidding process. Got specific on air filtration, air exchanges, both the high school project that they're working on already, and some extra filter changes that are going to be done over break. Obviously, in this year, the more we can do to keep the air as clean as we can in our schools and keep our filters updated, balancing the airflow between units and classrooms and all that is, there's a lot more to it than you really think. And then comp packages for all of our other employee groups. We'll be having action items, I believe, tonight on all of those. And as is required by NDE, we have a RFP for permission for food management services. Next meeting, January 11th. Any questions?
Thank you, Arnie. 7.2, Government Relations Committee, Tammy Day.
Yes, thank you. The Government Relations Committee met with Senator Mike Flood via Zoom, or Senator-elect Mike Flood, on November 17th. The purpose of the meeting was just to get to know one another, share our legislative concerns and priorities. He had some great questions for us as well, wanting to learn more about the district. So we are looking forward to working with Senator Flood, and I think he will come in knowing a bit about us and really open to knowing more. So it was a good call.
Thank you, Tammy. 7.3, Superintendent Evaluation Committee report. I was part of that committee. Mary compiled the evaluations, and all 6 board members did the evaluation of Dr. Thompson. And then we met with her for the superintendent evaluation conclusion. And we're pleased to say she had an outstanding evaluation. I thought I would just share a few of the comments. One was that Dr. Thompson has exceptional operational leadership with the best interest of MPS at the forefront of all decisions. We have gained strong board relationships utilizing individual board member strengths. And Dr. Thompson has the ability to be flexible and pivot when necessary, and that has been essential in these last months. So we're very pleased to say that Dr. Thompson's evaluation is complete, and it was outstanding. 7.4, Activities Committee. Bob Waite.
Thank you, Madam President. As you can see from the note in the board agenda, basically all we did was discuss the various protocols of each and every one of the sports as they're going to occur during the winter sports season. I'm not going to go through those with you because it probably it's already changed. So, but just to say the least, they're very tight, and it's going to be tough for us to comply with them all the time. And probably the biggest thing is that a lot of folks will not be able to see kids participate in their kids' activities, or they'll be able to participate in their own kids' activities, but beyond going to see a ball game just for the pleasure of it, I don't think that's a possibility. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. And there was another meeting scheduled later in this month, but it has since been postponed because we're waiting for more changes.
When the postponement comes out about one of those meetings, there's a qualifier saying that we could get called back at any time. I think the number one focus has been and continues to be on participation and getting students the opportunity to participate in their events. And seeing what happened last week with State 1 acts being pulled out here in Norfolk, I would compliment our administrative team at the high school and our administrative teams across the district for really going above and beyond and making things happen.
And I think the creativity that it takes to be safe and to do all the things, even though they're not maybe what we're used to, they're still happening. And kudos to everybody who has had to really think about how to make something work. And I think the One Act is a great example of that. So, yeah. Ongoing and always changing, but I think, again, keeping the students and the safety in the forefront and participation has been good.
Thank you, Bob. Curriculum Committee, Patty Girls.
Thank you, Madam President. The Norfolk Public Schools Board Curriculum Committee met on November 18 to review 2 new course proposals for the 21-22 school year. Derek Ippenson, high school principal, Blake Ott, who is an automotive teacher, and drafting teacher Rebecca Munson were there to present the proposals. Mr. Ott presented the proposed standards and learning targets for what would be called consumer auto course. I understand this is a course that was offered some years ago, was discontinued, and Mr. Ott would like to bring the course back. It would be a semester-long course offered to sophomores through seniors with no prerequisite for students to take the course, but it would be a prerequisite for those students in auto technology. The course really is designed to teach basic preventive maintenance for automobiles and also to familiarize the students with terminology that are connected with cars. Things like insurance, emergency procedures, and so on. As I mentioned, there's not a prerequisite for the course. No additional cost would be incurred with the approval and implementation of this course. Mrs. Munson presented a proposed drone operations course. As I'm sure you're aware, drone technology is being used in so many professions now, everything from law enforcement to agriculture to insurance, just on and on and on. So there's certainly, with this increased use in lots of professions, there's also an increased need for certified drone operators. So this course would prepare students to take the FAA Part 107 exam to become certified in drone operations, and certainly would help feed into a number of college programs that students might enroll in. The course, if approved, would be offered as an NECC dual credit course, and the cost of the materials will be paid for through Perkins grant funds, and I think the ultimate costs were about $6,500 some, and that's primarily for drones. The committee is recommending, you'll see these 2 proposed courses as action items on the agenda tonight. The committee is recommending approval of the 2 new courses.
I believe back when I went to NHS, I took this consumer auto course. It was not called that. And we learned how to change a tire and change our windshield wipers and, cranks. And it was interesting. It was a good class. It was only 8 weeks, because how many times can you change a tire? I love it that it's back. That's cool. Okay, next we have the minutes of the committee meetings, and the nurses' meetings are attached. We are to the consent agenda items. The minutes of the meetings of November 9th and December 4th are attached. 8.2 is personnel. Contract approval. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. I do have 2 contracts for your consideration this evening, starting with Crystal Bradley to serve second semester as a K-4 PE teacher for Lincoln Montessori and Bel Air. And the second is Erin Wilkin to begin as the senior high math teacher second semester. If you remember, neither one of those positions were filled at the beginning of the year.
So are these positions just one semester, or will they continue with it?
I believe they're both just one semester at this point.
The PE position is one semester at this point. It is a half-time position, so it is being filled through second semester. The math position was not hired as a one-semester only position. Mr. Wilkin will stay on staff.
Thank you. And there are no resignations at this time. And the claims, Dr. Robinson?
Thank you, Madam President. Attached are the claims for the month of December. And as stated earlier, these were reviewed at our noon meeting, and we do not have any conflict statements for this month.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Bruce and a second by Tammy. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. We are to action items. 9.1, discuss, consider, and take action to approve compensation for classified hourly and salaried staff for 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. The same 3.4% compensation increase that was approved for our non-supervisory certificated staff last month has been applied to all other employee groups. And this includes our classified hourly employees and our classified salary employees. Statutory review will be the base schedules for those positions. And for our hourly, that's 3.4% on our hourly rate, and classified, it's an entire package based on salary.
I'll make a motion to approve compensation increases for classified staff for the 2021-2022 school year as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Tammy. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.2, discuss, consider, and take action to approve compensation increases for nurses for the 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. Here again, we are applying the 3.4% compensation increase that we've approved for our certified staff and also now our classified staff to our nurses. The nurses have an employment agreement. Attached for your review is that agreement in the index pay schedule that applies to them with the 3.4% package increase.
I'll make a motion to approve compensation increases for nurses for the 21-22 school year.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Bruce and a second by Patty. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.3, discuss, consider, and take action to approve compensation increases for PK, pre-kindergarten through 12, administrators for the 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. Here again, applying the 3.4% compensation increase that we've approved for our certificated, classified, and nurses, applying that to our PK-12 administrative team. That package includes a 3.4% total package overall for our administrative group for 21-2022.
I'll make the motion to approve the compensation increases for PK-12 administrators for the 21-22 school year.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Arnie. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.4, discuss, consider, and take action to approve compensation increases for the superintendent for the 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. The same 3.4% compensation increase that's been approved for all of our other employee groups, and specifically certificated staff at last month's meeting, has been applied to the proposed superintendent compensation package for 2021-2022. Details of the proposal have been posted on our district website since December 7, 2020, in accordance with the Superintendent Transparency Act. Both documents are attached for you review, and once again for public insight. Recommendation could be to move forward with that.
I'll move we approve the compensation increases for the superintendent for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Arnie and a second by Tammy. Is there any additional discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve compensation increases for substitutes for the 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. What we did starting last year is we started to index our sub compensation increases based on what we were doing with everybody else in our district. The same applies here. Attached, you see that base increase to the base of all of our sub compensation of a 3.4% increase for starting in 2021-2022. I recommend the board approve this increase for our substitute teachers.
I'll make a motion to approve the compensation increase for substitutes for the 21-22 school year.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Patty. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to point out that the proposal also indicates that we would continue the 40 cent and 80 cent per hour bonus for subs that work 20 days and 40 days within a semester. That's similar to what we're doing for our certificated substitutes.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson.
I like that we have tied the percentage increase of the rest of the groups to the substitute group as well. I think it helps us stay ahead and compensate them fairly, so I think that was a good switch.
I think we're in a good plan with this. In 8 years, we've never been overwhelmed with having too many substitutes. So I think subs are an important part of our district, and I think compensating them and doing it in line with what we're doing for the whole district makes a lot of sense.
Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.6, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the second and final reading of board policies 6283 through 6920 related to instruction. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. No changes have been made to these policies since their first reading last month. The committee is recommending that they be approved for final reading this evening.
I will make a motion to approve the second and final reading of board policies 6283 through 6920 related to instruction.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Bruce. Is there any discussion? Thank you for not reading all of those. Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.7, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the second and final reading of board policies 4025, professional boundaries, 4031, injury leave, 5008, attendance policy, and excessive absenteeism, 8342, designated method of giving notice of meetings, and 4270, staff payments during closure. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Once again, no changes have been made to these policies since their first reading last month. I would, however, remind the board that these policies were either revised or added based on changes made during the state legislature this summer.
I'll make a motion to approve the second final reading of board policies 4025, 4031, 5008, 8342, and 4270.
I'll second. We have a motion by Bruce and a second by Tammy. Any additional conversation? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.8, discuss, consider, and take action to grant permission to request RFPs for food management services as required by NDE. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. NDE does require districts that use food management services to request proposals on those services every 5 years. Our current agreement with LSI, Lunchtime Solutions, hasn't met that timeline. It's hard to believe it's been 5 years already.
Yeah.
We're there. So we will need to put out an RFP for food management services. This process, unlike some of our other RFPs, is really highly regulated by the Department of Ed, and they really pretty much dictate the process, and we have to follow those strict protocols through the RFP. The tentative timeline is to post an RFP for this in January, review submissions, and bring a recommendation to the board by March or April. So we recommend permission to start the RFP process.
I'll make a motion to grant permission to request RFPs for food management services.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Patty and a second by Bruce. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.9, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the purchase of twig science materials for grades K-2. Beth Nelson. Beth Nelson, thank you.
After extensive review and piloting of an appropriate science program for K-2, it is my recommendation to purchase twig science. The only qualifying for bid for twig science was submitted for a total of $207,379.13. This includes a 6-year instructional package and it includes teacher training. Funds for this will come from our general curriculum budget.
I would make a motion to approve the purchase of twig science materials for grades K-2.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Bruce and a second by Arnie. Is there discussion? I would like to say at the meeting today, Beth did a really good presentation. It seems like it may be a little bit pricey, but it includes all the lab materials for 6 years, as well as 4 workbooks per student per year, and the teacher manual, and there's online support. There is so much to this program, and it's very engaging and bright and thought-provoking, and it aligns well with some of our other curriculum we have.
Can I ask who the bid was from? I didn't see that listed.
Just the twig education company.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.10, discuss, consider, and take action to grant permission to seek RFPs for Chromebooks. Eric Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. This item, if approved, will allow our tech team to begin the request for proposal process for our yearly Chromebook purchase. We anticipate purchasing approximately 1,050 Chromebooks this year to meet our needs at the 5th, 7th, and 9th grade levels. This is a budgeted annual cost that is part of the technology budget. This will be a bit earlier in the year than what has been done in the past, but we are wanting to get this process started in case there's a disruption in the supply chain this spring.
I'll make a motion to grant permission to seek RFPs for the Chromebooks.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Bruce. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 9.11, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the addition of a consumer automotive course at the senior high. Beth Nelson.
To echo Dr. Google's curriculum report, the senior high is seeking approval to offer consumer auto as a semester course for the 10th through 12th grade students and to be a prerequisite to auto tech. This course is designed to teach basic preventative maintenance for an automotive and also familiarize the students with terminology and procedures related to the automobile. The curriculum committee met to review the proposal on November 18th. It is my recommendation to approve the consumer auto as a course offering at the senior high.
I would make a motion to approve the addition of a consumer automotive course at the senior high.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Bruce and a second by Arnie. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. And 9.12, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the addition of a dual credit drone operations course at the senior high. Beth Nelson.
Again, as an echo to Dr. Google's report, the senior high is seeking approval to offer a dual credit course with Northeast Community College drone operations. Colleges and universities are launching drone pilot programs. This course would help prepare students to take the FAA Part 107 exam to become certified in drone operations. The curriculum committee met to review this proposal on November 18th. It is my recommendation that we approve the dual credit drone operations course offering.
I'll make a motion to approve the addition of a dual credit drone operations course at Norfolk Senior High.
I'll second. We have a motion by Patty and a second by Tammy. Is there any discussion? I'm just kind of wondering, we have the generosity of Margaret Robinson's scholarship where they get to give dual credit. Will this apply? That's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. Well, that takes us to future meetings. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, January 11th, 2021. The business meeting will begin at 5:30 p.m. All components of these meetings will be held at the NPS Central Admin Offices and will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interest of the district or the reputation of an individual. And with that, we need to go into executive session to discuss staffing as needed to protect the interest of the district.
I'll move we go into executive session to discuss staffing in order to protect the interest of the district.
I'll second the motion.
And we have a motion by Arnie and a second by Patty. Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary.
And for the audience, I would let you know that we do not anticipate any action being taken after the conclusion of the executive session tonight.